Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The final game of the weekend. Dragamons versus Meet Your Makers. It's 2-2 all square from 2-0 deficit. Meet Your Makers, looking at the end of their careers in League of Legends, have dragged themselves back into this one, really giving Dragamons something serious to think about.
And oh my lord, have we had some fantastic games over the course of the last couple of days. Right now, it is the final game of the summer promotion tournament. We're about to
It's the final countdown is what it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Countdown.
Everybody break out the Europe song, because we are ready to go in just a few moments. Picks and bans will be coming through. So let's look at the bans, what we've seen so far. Meet Your Makers, they've been taking away looks every time because they don't want to see that scary moment from Shushay that he's developed. We've seen the likes of Ari being banned out. Oriana's been a ban, I believe, at one point.
It has, yes, as well. Now, in terms of some of the common picks, MYM have taken Zed and Lux out at pretty much every single opportunity. The few times that they've let sort of one or the other through, it has potentially been picked up. Shen has been a priority pick. Nautilus has been a priority pick. And after that either team was banning out Zac, and we see why. Cubon was devastating on the secret weapon. Right now, Dragonborns look devastated, to be honest. Their faces are very stern and very serious. We'll see how they're going to channel inner potential victors in this game.
We may well see the nerves for the first time because the pressure is very much on them. Bans coming in: Xerath, Twisted Fate, Zed, Zac, Ari, Jarvan. Quick bans, quick fire, and now Yamato Cannon. What are you going to go for here, ladies and gentlemen? They're going to go for Nautilus. It worked well for Maluno first time, so why not try it again?
So we'll see whether or not they want to go for something like Lux. I imagine first picking it is obviously not going to be the best of ideas. We do see that both Ghost and Teleport are still being sat on from Yamato Cannon, so that could be a remnant from the previous game, or it could be something that he's deciding to look for in this particular matchup. If they lock in Elise, I believe it was Cubon that ran Elise in game number 3, so might be wanting to get that back. He had a very good game, 1v2, and it was with the help of a Nautilus gank that he got first blood.
It didn't start off great, but yeah, with the help of his friends, it worked out well, and this is a team game, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just about the individual skill. If your team is carrying you through, you can certainly perform like a champion. Makata wading towards who are they going to go for? Will it be Varus being locked in? And that's been a champion that's been early picked here, or will they go with something else, maybe in the jungle?
It could be maybe Thresh or the Zyra. Zyra might be a possibility. Libic's been doing very well in the 2 previous games, and we have seen very high priority picks for that Thresh. First picking fairly often. So if it is going to be that Zyra, it's just going to be back to Libic, and he's had game-changing.
It worked so well for him. Why not?
Correct.
So that gain, that's great big crowd control there. That's straight away a cocoon and the grasping roots. Good control from Meet Your Makers. Why not change what has been working so well for him? And honestly, if you ask me, Libic's ultimates have been so on point.
Yeah, they have been. Now, what we do see is that Hosan and Mover are going back to the Draven combo. Now, it was originally Draven plus Elise in game number 1, and it worked out for them. But I think that was partially because of the damage offer that Elise was offering. In this setup, Mover's going to be back on Sona, and he got squashed in lane. Remember, cast your mind back and we'll see how well that works.
Oh, Shen did get through, and it's going to be Makata once again. For the 4th game, I believe he's going to be on Shen now.
Yep, 4 out of 5.
Also Varus, of course, for Makla. That is a face of worrisome players right there. Look at them all. They are all really worried about this one. They were so confident. You saw Mover giving it the one more game signal. Is that going to be the equivalent of touching the Champions League trophy and jinxing yourself? Aurelia, though, locked in. Yamato Cannon, it worked so well for him before. But Shushay's Karthus hasn't been convincing.
So they are going back to the champions that worked for them when they picked up victories earlier in this series. And we'll see whether or not that's going to be enough for the Dragonborns. Oriana is available, and it is going to be locked in for Charu. So he had some very good protection usage in the previous game. I think his shockwaves could have been a little bit better placed, but against this team, against a team that's going to be a little bit easier to predict, the Draven and Nautilus, you can follow those spinning axes, you can follow where he's coming in with the depth charge, you can hit that shockwave.
But we talked about it on the analysis desk just a moment ago. The crowd control, area effect spells that Meet Your Makers have are very strong, and we've already seen that they have the teamwork to be able to land them.
Now remember, one of the things that plays into Dragonborn's favor now is how Aurelia is less affected by crowd control based on the number of champions around. So yes, you can control her, but you can control her for less time than you could other champions. So that will definitely play into their favor. It's a very scary lineup from Dragonborns, and if they get ahead in the laning phase, they should be able to maintain that lead. If, however, the game goes late, MYM's composition should scale better than the Dragonborns.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to get underway for the final game of the Summer Promotion Series. Dragonborns, they've already seen two of their former teams that they've been up against for the last 4 months fall to the wayside. Giants fell 3-2 in this exact same situation, and Dragonborns are going to have that playing in the back of their minds, if not just from my voice alone. It is, of course, also going to mean that we did see it against all authorities. They fell 3-0 to Sinners Never Sleep. It was so strong that they absolutely got decimated by the new upstarts in the amateur tournament. Will Meet Your Makers be able to get revenge for what happened to them over in Warsaw? They feel that it was never really their place to go down so heavily to the Dragonborns. It was looking like it might happen, but the Dragonborns have let Meet Your Makers back into this game in such emphatic style.
The question is whether or not Draven will be powerful enough in this matchup. It was Draven in Warsaw. It was Draven in game number 1. And will it be the League of Draven again? Right now, the players, they are into the game for the final time this weekend. Down in the blue corner, it is Dragonborns, potentially for the last time in the LCS for 2013.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Dragonborns in the blue, Meet Your Makers in the red. 2-2 all square. From 2-0 down, will momentum be what carries Meet Your Makers through? Or will the Dragonborns be able to retain their position as the 8th team in the League of Legends Championship Series Summer Split? Now, of course, that's such an important split as well, because it does mean that the Summoners Cup will be fought for towards the end of it.
And we'll see how this works out for Hosan on Draven. He's gone to a skin that we didn't see in the previous time, and he's actually got 4% crit on his runes. So if he does manage to get a lucky critical hit with a spinning axe, it is just going to devastate the HP bars of Libic's Zyra. That is a very, very squishy champion in the early stages of the game, and Libic will be needing to make sure he lands those grasping roots before he takes too many auto attacks.
You know, Meet Your Makers never really go too aggressive with those wards. They don't try and look towards getting them at those Wraith camps. Obviously, they feel that they're maybe a little too dangerous. Dragonborn's actually doing the same, all those human ward positions of the players, completely keeping them away.
Now, one thing that's great to note about MYM, and something we've talked about so often with that team, is just how good their ward coverage was, even just in this series alone. But you think back, and I remember when Joe was talking about them yesterday, they were one of the first teams to pioneer that, like, pink ward everywhere type of strategy, you know, when they were still doing all the go for lols, and they haven't stopped doing that. It does look like the lane swaps have happened. We are going to have our top laners featuring in the bottom lane and our dual laners going head-to-head in the top lane.
So Shari started off with that red pot just as he did before. Last time he went up against Shushe's Karthus, and Karthus, of course, gone with that fairy charm. So identical builds from this time. Last time it was Shari that came out on top when they had this battle. Makatra, of course, taking up that red buff. Maluna will be taking his own. So identical dragon paths. They wish it'd be Dragon Pass. Maybe, you never know. They're going to go in for some crazy early times, but I don't think so. Hosan, though, with those axes spinning, getting straight aggressive on Makler. He desperately wants to land it, pulls back just at the right moment.
Yeah, neither of the champions have the movement speed required to close that gap. Even with Hosan's movement speed increase, it wasn't enough. He's used a little bit of his mana early on, and he'll just be refreshing the timer on that spinning axe, catching it, throwing another, and maintaining that control. So that's going to help him CS. He's got a 9 CS lead. Not that much damage to Libic yet, but wait for the levels of that Q to grow.
Yeah, and of course, Yamato Cannon versus Kubon in that bottom lane. Actually, it's going to be Libic getting caught out. Very much strong there. Flashes out, but they're going to go straight in towards it. Hosan taking low. The Ignite's coming down. First blood comes in. It's Libic that gets the kill.
Libic with an instant flash away, and the reaction timing there from Mokat. He managed to jump in there, lock up Hosan for a second, and bought time for Zyra to get away cleanly. First blood for MYM in the 5th and final game of this series.
As I was about to mention, the bottom lane, Kubon versus Yamato Cannon. The fact that he's gone with that Fortitude pot, we do see, of course, Kubon just stacking out those potions. We are in 3.5. He can't quite go stacking like he can in 3.6. Obviously, now it's been limited, but the fact that we are on 3.5 balance does mean he could buy as many as he wishes right now.
And of course, that dive from Hosan all stemmed from those 4% crit runes. He got a critical hit on Libic, dealt a chunk of damage, and managed to jump in there. Right now, 600 gold advantage. The money went to the support, so that's actually pretty good for them in this early phase. If Libic can get some more survivability, get that early sightstone, get vision control, that will work into their favor. You can see that Maluno, he's snuck himself in towards that blue buff area.
Well, he was spotted by the ward, which you can see why Makato and Sharu were both heading straight towards him. Maluno was setting himself up for a death trap there, but he does manage to get the hook and forces the flash from Sharu there.
So well played. He landed the dredge line. I actually think he pulled Oriana into the wall. Wasn't able to get away safely. Makato started off his blue buff particularly late, but here comes Maluno and Yamato Cannon.
He's already picked it up though. The smite had to be used. He does manage to get it away. Maluno was seeing if he could try and force something from there. Would have been a bonus if Yamato Cannon could have gone on towards it, but he didn't. And that means the Dragonborns are still 1-0 down.
And look at the play here from Makato. He was very, very scared that people were hanging around in his jungle. So he ran all the way around. He has not picked up those small golems in that blue camp. So he's going to delay the respawn of that seconds buff. And that's going to throw Dragonborns off. They'll think they know where the timer is, but they won't have the exact timer.
Hosan is keeping those spinning axes going. Of course, that's been the person to get caught out. First blood going to Libic, not the greatest thing in the world, but not the end of the world either. Of course, that meant he could go back and get that ruby crystal, building up that hit points, making him a little stronger in that lane. We do see Makato sneaking around here, and they're maybe going to see if they can bait in the Dragonborns.
And there is no Dragonborn's ward in the river, so he's actually avoided the vision. He's about to walk up into this lane. He's got the taunt available. He may be able to taunt up Hosan. He's right in range. Is he going to go for it?
I don't think he is. He had his opportunity there, and now it's going to be Mover they're going to focus on. Now he comes in. Now he sees the aggression coming in. Is it going to be enough? Mover's going to be caught out. The teleport was coming in from Sharu, got cancelled out as well. Wasn't required.
So he gets half of that cooldown back, and it was a very nervous moment. Makato was waiting for the bait. He was waiting for both Makla and Libic to actually pull the aggression, and when he did decide to go in, his presence was able to at least pick up that assist kill, but here comes Maluno. If he does get a dredge line, somebody could be in trouble.
It just forces him away, but you mentioned it really early on in the games, the fact that they do use that aggression of Hosan and Movet against them, and I've seen so many LCS teams doing it, and Meteor Maker seem to have caught on to that plan, and now they're trying to do it themselves.
Charu is doing so well to avoid all those little skittles on the floor. Lay wastes coming out left, right, and center from Shushe. Charu has no flash available, and there's the exhaust.
The exhaust goes down. Charu is very much a dead man. Pulls out the shockwave, or is he? Makato gets the taunt across there. Shushe goes down. He's just going to dodge out the skittles, gets pulled into it. He does manage to dodge out one, dodge out to another, goes into the defile. Finally, it lands on towards him, but Makato might be able to take Maluno down. I don't think he's got enough damage. He gets the shadow dash across. Is there going to be enough? Doesn't have any form of ignite, so he can't take him down. It is an even trade, 1-for-1.
So decides to back away, doesn't want to tower down. There's a fight on bottom.
Kuban going in towards Yamato Cannon, repels away. He may well go back in for this one, no. And it's going to be a very even trade. Had to use that fortitude pot, though.
So ignites were traded. There are still potions in Kuban's back pocket, so he's going to be able to heal up that poke. And remember, the neurotoxin from range will keep Yamato Cannon low. Yamato Cannon does have Transcendent Blades on cooldown as well. So if Kuban can land a good cocoon or go in with repel, he may be able to pick up a kill in that bottom lane. And that's the first time he's winning in that lane.
He is winning out that lane. He actually cancelled out his teleport there because Yamato Cannon returned to lane. He thought, oh, I might be able to take this one instead. He's happy to keep it frozen, and he does back away. Goes back, gets himself some Sorcerer's Boots. Double Doran's Blade being picked up by Yamato Cannon. Libic just going off, warding off that Tribush. Pink Ward goes down for a move out, though. It's going to clear that coverage.
Now the Pink Ward battle has begun, and of course, in that Tribush will prevent any sort of dives. Hosan is low on HP. With Sona rejoining the lane, though, will be able to pick up some HP, and the Pink Ward is immediately countered. Now, in Movet's inventory, he has no more Pink Wards, whereas Libic does. So, we talked about how it's working, and Hosan is just kept so low, but he is still CSing. Even with the death, he's farming well.
But they've got no vision now, so they can't stick around because they're so fearful of where Makato may be. He's taking that red buff down. He did clear out that blue buff pack as well. Of course, he will have the timers on that one throughout the Dragon Balls, but it is going to delay it a little bit for Sharu to get that blue.
Yeah, so we'll see how well that works out for them. Right now, a lot of free damage going to land on this top turret. And I think for, I would dare say, the first time in this series, Makla and Libic convincingly in control of their lane. It is all stemming from that very early double gank of Makato, but at the end of the day, those ganks gave them the control and has allowed them to maintain control of the tempo here in this top lane.
Makato is going to push this wave on towards this turret. Hosan is coming back down here. We do see down the bottom lane, though. Maluna's sneaking around on towards Kuban. Can he land that dredge line? The stun came in just at the right time from Yamato Cannon. He's going to repel away. Where's he going? Teleport's coming in. There's going to be Shushe's ultimate coming in straight and joining towards it. It's going to be a 3-3-3. The shockwave pulls in Yamato Cannon, and Kuban picks up yet another kill.
Ladies and gentlemen, MYM are everywhere on the map. Stand United teleports being used. used, and it's picking them up kill after kill after kill. Outside of Charu, every single member of MYM have kills on the board. It is an 8-minute 50 Dragon start, and Meet Your Makers will be sending this Dragon back to its maker.
That's going to pull the gold lead to 3,000 now for the Meet Your Makers. Can they do the impossible just like Alternate did? They set themselves a story, a goal on day one of the best of fives, and well, it looks like Dragonborns may well be the victims of yet another one by Meet Your Makers.
Before 10 minutes on the clock, that gold lead is up to 3,000. All credit to Hosan. After all of that pressure in the top lane to still be CSing, but he finds himself 700 gold behind Makla's Varus. We'll see how well that works out for him. Lipix has been left to his own devices to defend this tower and is doing relatively well. Not managing to pick up too many of those creeps or last hits, but with Makla rejoining the party, he does have that early item lead.
In all the 2 games that Meet Your Makers have won, every time they've got the advantage, they have taken it and secured it very quickly. They've been much quicker than Dragonborns at taking advantage of those advantages.
The advantage of those early advantages, and we'll see if they can continue to replicate it. Right now, it is still very, very early on in the game, and one quick tower and a couple of quick kills can swap things around. Teleport is a third of the way off cooldown for Charu, and Stand United halfway there for Makate in the jungle. Wait for those abilities to become available before Meet Your Makers decide to pick another battle.
Yeah, indeed. 10 minutes now into the game. The items starting to be built up. Gold, not too big a difference so far. 2,000 gold, though, at this stage is fairly beefy. It will spread across all the lanes because you can see the kills once again for Meet Your Makers evenly spread.
So Makate is hiding up in this tri-bush right now. There isn't a Dragonborn's ward in the river, so if he decides to go in from that route, he will get spotted. If he decides to move up and try a lane gank, there is a pink ward in that top bush for MYM, so he'll be able to sneak in there pretty well. And I think that ping is pretty much saying, I think there's a ward there, guys. I'm pretty sure that's the idea. Yep. So we'll see Libic. Pink ward's down, so he's clearing it out. That's his last pink, and this is going to allow Makate to move in. But surely Move Out and Hosan will be aware of this.
He's going to go around and put a ward in the tri-bush. That pink ward about to wear off as well. They would have seen that go down. They're going to have to clear it very quickly if that's what they're going to get. We do see Makata creeping in there. Maluna's just lingering off at the side there. Move in. He's going to get it down just before the pink ward wears out. Doesn't matter, that was the Sightstone ward that was used. And now we're going to see Chain of Corruption lands on towards Hosan. There's going to be the Shadow Dash, perfectly timed. Libic's ultimate comes down, pops them all in the air. Hosan goes down. Mubat's going to be the next target now. Have they got enough damage to finish him off? Everything was used out to try and defend it. And Meet Your Makers pick themselves up another kill.
What a great kill there. Mubat landing a very good crescendo, but it wasn't enough to prevent the kill going down. A 3-man knocker from yet another precise Stranglethorns from Libic, paying dividends. The first tower of the game is about to fall, and a 3-man MYM just brute forced their way through that top lane. Pink ward's used and used successfully.
Meet Your Makers, they have built themselves up a fairly impressive lead now, and they are really causing problems for the Dragonborns. How can they react to this one with the towers starting to fall? We see Libic coming around. He has played absolutely immaculately on Zyra. He has been hooked in there, but we do see Makata, we do see Makla. They're going to get the Shadow Dash in, and Makla has been baited into this one. He flashes away. Now they're going to see the 3 members of Dragonborns coming around. Here comes Shushe to join the party. Sharu is going to be coming though, puts the defensive ball down. He's chasing on towards Libic. Is that going to be the death of him? We're going to see Makla go down to Hosan, and now it does look like Dragonborns have bullied them out of their jungle.
So well played by Dragonborns to collapse upon the members of MYM, who are, very honest, way too deep for their own good. It's too early in the game, and they're not that far ahead that they can get away with it. So they lose Makla, but that was the only loss. A very, very good command protect from Charu once again saves his teammates, saving Libic in the jungle, and they get away with only losing 1 casualty.
And I hate to beat you down while you're screaming, but Makata has been involved in every single kill so far with Shen. Certainly figured out how to counter and what to do against Dragonborn.
He bounced back. Game 1 and 2, it was a shaky game. I stand by that, and he's just showing that he can come back from behind, can go, look, I can play better than this. Let me shake off the fatigue, get back into my carrying ninja boots, and go back into lane.
Is that something that the rest of the LCS teams need to keep note of? Because currently, Meet Your Makers, they have that one big foot in towards the summer season. It is only a 4,000 gold lead, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but that is a pretty beefy lead at only 13 minutes.
So Makati's completed himself a Sunfire Cape, just going to allow him to prevent a lot of the damage from Irelia, from Draven, and can allow him the opportunity to tower dive if he so pleases, getting those flash Shadow Dash taunts over and over. Red buff taken away by Maluno, not gifted to Draven because he's a million miles away in the top lane.
Yep, we are seeing Dragonborns though rotated, Meteor Makers rotated to this bottom lane, and now Yamato Cannon in that 2v1. Sharu keeping damage on towards the mid turret as well.
So we see now in terms of this swap, when a tower goes down with your duo lane, they almost always swap to another lane to force it, and we've seen no reaction from Dragonborns. Hosan was alone in the top lane, split pushing effectively like he was 2 games ago. Right now, as Aurelia was going forward a little aggressively, Makla and Libic were like, whoa, 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 we're not quite ready for Aurelia yet. And they decided to back away just a little bit.
Makla putting the pink ward down there at the Dragon. The support is not the only person that should be buying those wards, of course. Everybody on your team, it is all of your jobs, and the AD carry doing just that. Yamato Cannon tries to come out. Meteor Makers just avoiding the Maluno coming in towards them. That crazy big dredge line, that humongous anchor that he carries around with him. He's got to weigh him down a bit.
He's pretty beefy, so carrying around for a little while. Right now, it's a fairly slower pace in the game.
Shushay
doing well to farm. There's the cocoon. Is it going to land? That's the question.
He does, and he sinks his teeth in. And well, Shockwave came out, and it was actually Sharu that got the kill, taking it away from Kuban, securing it.
Kuban took 0 damage there whatsoever. He collapsed onto Shushay. Shushay turned his Defile on after he was dead, and it didn't manage to do anything. That 8-minute 50 Dragon has allowed it to respawn now, and this is going to be a solo Kuban taking Dragon down.
Yeah, perfect timing as well. They had the exact time. There's going to be the Stranglethorns bouncing in the air. There's going to be a chain of corruption. Beautifully timed out, and it's Libic that picks up another kill, and the tower. The Dragon goes down at the same time. The gold swing is going huge right now for Meteor Makers.
6,000 gold in their favor. The middle turret is a warm breath away from being taken down, and it looks like Makati is going to breathe on this one, as gentle as a summer breeze, secure their 3rd tower of the game, and that gold is just getting further and further away from the Dragonborns.
Yes, that Sunfire Cape applying the temperature required to drop that turret down. 3-0, as you mentioned. All the outer turrets now down, and Dragonborns having to move in full force to protect off that blue buff for Shushay.
So they do manage to secure it, and that is very, very important. We have still yet to see an impactful Requiem, if any Requiem at all, in this particular matchup. And we'll see whether or not Shushay can actually make any of them count. He's had one particularly good game with Karthus, one slightly questionable one, but that was, of course, because Chari's Ari was absolutely blowing him up. So positioning will be key for Shushay in this game. 5
members of Meteor Makers, 4, sorry, are pushing down, and again, pings go down. What a surprise. Split push going to be coming out from Ashen. It's going to be Makata. He is 2-0-3 already. Finally has been not involved in some of the kills. Hosan gets caught out, and look at that. The piercing arrow comes through, takes him down to half health now with that little combo, and that's going to force the Dragonborns back once again.
All of a sudden, Kuban decides to plug in his keyboard and mouse and start playing this game. He is landing all of his abilities, and after being completely stomped by Yamato Cannon in the opening matches of the series, he is now just becoming a monster. He soloed pretty much Shushay in the mid lane. He caught Hosan out there again, and just like threading a needle, he lands cocoon after cocoon.
Well, I feel that Dragonborns may be saying riot please, because the server issue has certainly gave Meteor Makers a confident swing. They had the time to gather themselves, and it seems to have worked out wonders. The Dragonborns, of course, were 2-0 up and feeling really confident. They thought they could take it 3-0, and honestly, it looked like they were, because Meteor Makers, they were having some sloppy team fights. We've still seen remnants of that, of course, in that last fight that Jason pointed out, but it is going to be Maluno. Claps it onto Makate, just shadow dashes away.
He manages to get through the tree line, but look at this. MYM have decided to start off Baron. This is another very, very early, but it might just be bait. They don't manage to catch Maluno, and now all of a sudden, that Wall of Pain is slowing them down.
Wall of Pain came out. There's going to Cocoon, and that is going to take the, I think it was Mover that was taken down to half hit points there. He's had to back away from that. I tell a lie. That was Shushay, actually. That's a problem. He can't get involved in this one. Baron has been started off maybe a little bit too early. It's going to be Shushay flashing in. He is the bait, but he gets dropped too quickly. Defile is down there, but they are going to avoid it. Makla gets taken down. Requiem comes out. Is this going to be enough to turn it around? Makata has to back away, but in this top lane, you see Libic. He's going to come in. He's had to repel. Where's he going to go? Dragonborns are picking up kills here. They could manage to get down Kubon. He's going to try and flash away from this one, although he does not have it available. He's already used it. Cocoon goes on towards Yamada Cannon. He's going to try and pull the rest of his team away from him and buy the rest of his friends some time to back away. Kubon turns it around. His repel will be back available in a moment. He wants to get to the wolves, but he's got nothing available to him. He turns around. He's going to take Yamada Cannon down. No!
Ignite!
Surge comes out. The Ignite. Is it going to be enough? Yes, it is. Kubon gets a kill. It's a 2 for 2.
1 against 3, 1 against 4 at the end of that, and he manages to pick up that kill with that Ignite. Is going to get a little bit of regen from those little spiderlings in spider form, and obviously going to work out very, very well for them. Another slightly sloppy engage from MYM. They used the Baron as bait, and then didn't expect that flash from Shushay into the middle of them.
They used it as bait, but they stayed on it. It's like, if you're going to peel. If you're going to stay on it, stay on it. But they were kind of half-drawn. Shushay's flash kind of caught them a little bit out there. The fact that they had that Defile running across the rest of them, that should have been the sign. Meteor Makers back off from this fight.
They do manage to get away with it relatively unscathed. That 7,000 gold lead still in place. Hosan, he started off the red buff, and as soon as the ward came down from Libic, he panicked. He has no idea how many members of MYM are around, and he's decided to back away and actually recall as well. So we may actually see MYM trying to challenge for this red buff. Dragon will be respawning within the next minute and a half or so, if my memory serves, and anticipate Libic setting up all sorts of ward coverage in and around this area.
The red buff poke, and Libic is going to pull that towards him. The rest of Dragonborns are chasing it around the corner, though. The reset comes out there. Maluno caught out a little bit. Hail of arrows comes in. Great big grasping roots on Maluno.
I didn't see exactly who grabbed that one. It was Makla at the end of the day. It looked like Smite went down from Maluno, but it was a little bit early, actually. Or maybe he did pick it up, so we'll double-check him in a second. At the moment, though, MYM, they've grouped up in this mid lane. We'll see whether or not they want to siege this tower. Stand United is available.
Well, they're not going to get too many hits on it. We do see the split push, though, in that top lane from Makato, so they're going to keep the pressure on both these lanes. They have another conga line of minions coming in, and they're going to keep pressure down.
The Shockwave!
Shockwave goes in. Shushay gets dropped instantaneously by Libic. The Requiem comes out once again. He's not going to get any victims this time around, though, and it is going to be Meteor Makers backing away.
So another great pick coming out of MYM. The last time Shushay played Karthus, they picked it up. Stand United not even needed. Once Requiem was being channeled, Charu did the math. He's like, I got this. Don't waste the ability. We've seen Mokata using his Stand United a little preemptively in previous games. Not this time round.
So he manages to clear that wave, and he buys time for the rest of Meteor Makers in that mid lane. Stranglethorn goes out. It's going to bounce Maluno in the air. Not really the target they want to go to. Piercing Arrow does go across and forces Maluno away. That's going to buy them time to take down this first inner turret of the game.
4 towers to 0. 9,500 gold. Meteor Makers, they are channeling their inner alternate, and they have alternated from losing to winning potentially 3 games in a row.
Dragon spawning, and once again, Meteor Makers are there, ready and waiting. And, well, the timer not quite on there. Just a little ahead. I mean, the game, it must be a game mode, not the timer on the graphics guy at all.
No, not at all, and not after this intensely long day that we have had. But what an ending to the day. You couldn't have asked for a better series of games. Dragon has been secured, extends the goal to 10,000, and right now Karthus, one of the best Baron killers in the game. Shockwave is available, and it does look like Dragonborns wisely back away.
That's instant. The ball comes on top of all 5 of you, and you're like,
do not want.
Seen this before yesterday. Do not want the 3,000 elo ball.
No, not going to be chasing this ball around, because it's definitely one that would get them caught out right now. That gold lead and that power is just all in the hands of Meteor Makers. Rylai's Crystal Scepter is completed there for Cubon's Elise, so whoever he does manage to throw that neurotoxin poison onto will immediately be slowed down for the duration.
Well, Meteor Makers now 10,000 gold almost built up, 10-4 in kills, 4-0 in turrets. They don't need to go for the Baron buff, honestly. There is a pink ward there, and that has caught so many teams out in the past. They should just continue the split push because we saw it work. They took down that inner turret in the mid lane. They can do it once again, taking down the bottom lane. You can see the split push once again coming in from Makato. Dragon Balls want to try and get in and brute force the way to clear out this wave. Maluno tries to force Libic away and gets the flash out of him, and that means the rest of Meteor Makers, they're going to start pushing in towards him.
So a very good dredge line coming out of Maluno there, forcing the flash. So we'll see how this works. Of course, Stand United is available, so he does need to be with the rest of his team. We'll see how Makata does decide to itemize. He's farming up the wave, allowing the minions to deal some damage, and he'll turn to it in a moment or two. The rest of Dragonborn's grouped up in the mid lane. They still have 0 towers to their name, and they'll be looking to try and pick up this mid outer turret as the #1 of the game.
But is it worth it? We do see Yamato Cannon heading down towards that bottom lane. There's going to be a big chunk of damage on that bottom turret. They do manage to get half the health stripped off, but again, they're coming in towards it. Libic comes in, Stranglethorns. He does manage to catch out Shushe. He's going to be the focus target. Shockwave comes in, Crescendo comes across, but just as he dies, Requiem comes down. He's going to take Libic with him, and he does pass down. That's going to be 1, though, picked up by the Dragonborns, and it's going to be 2 picked up for Meteor Makers. Chain of Corruption doesn't find his target. Hosan's running for his life as Makato pursues. We are going to see Sharu taking very, very low. Yamato Cannon might be able to pick up this kill. The Ignite does get the kill. Makla, though, chasing on towards Maluno. A hail of arrows lands on there. Cocoon flashed away from, but it's going to be Meteor Makers once again pushing in towards the base.
So 2 for 2 at the end of the fight. Makata was chasing Hosan away. It was the wrong move. Because of that chase, he ended up costing the life of Charu. If he had been around, he could have taunted up Irelia, played by Yamato Cannon, and maybe secured that. At the end of the day, an even trade. And that was MYM trying to make a team fight from a very awkward angle. They were really trying to force a fight that they didn't have the correct entry in for that particular setup. Hosan is going to run into this lane, start to farm it up, and you're just going to see Makla decide to run away as opposed to continue that recall.
Interesting that Hosan was there on his own, and Makla and Makata could have taken that. The brothers Grimm would have certainly managed to drop him there, but they didn't have vision, and they let Hosan get the free farm.
Yeah, they didn't have vision. There was no Twisted Fate in this time round, so they couldn't actually get vision on that particular setup. And you don't want to run the risk of throwing away more kills, especially after that very questionable engage. It was a good wild growth. Stranglethorns coming out of Libic, and it didn't work out the greatest at the end of the day.
Oh, look at Hosan's items, not the standard builders that you'd get for Draven.
Well, not only that, you've got a Runic Bulwark on Yamato Cannon. He's got no aggressive items. And when you consider how strong he was in Irelia earlier, this is a drastic change. His opponent, Riley's Crystal Scepter and Haunting Guys. And like you said, a Last Whisper as your first item. Hosan is feeling the pinch right now. He's really looking just for some instant statistics.
Instant statistics, it may be what he needs. It's a 9,000 gold differential. Dragon Balls did manage to claw the way back 1,000 gold in this brief period of time, but Sharu throwing out that ball and seeing if he can catch any bait from Yamato Cannon. We do see again another 2-man Baron.
So we'll see whether or not they can pull this one off. It does look like Meteor Makers have been running all of the damage numbers though. Whirling Death has spotted them, caught them out. The rest of Dragonborns are reacting quickly. Kuban is low. They put a ward down. There's a teleport coming up from Charu. They may decide to try force this fight. Baron is lower, down to 2,500. The Grasping Roots has held them in place. They might be able to get it.
Great Grasping Roots there. Shushe does get in with a Defile. That's going to be the Baron picked up. Crescendo comes across. Shushe will get taken down. Well, how much will that Defile do though? He may be able to get down. No, he doesn't. He does. Charu drops though. Now they're going to catch on towards it. Meteor Makers in a little trouble here. Makato simply sacrificing himself, and Dragon Balls will be picking up kills here. You can see the hail of arrows come out from Makla. That's going to buy them time to back away, but we can already see Hosan and Yamato Cannon tracking them down. The ward goes in. Blade Surge on towards Makla. He's going to get a brilliant Cocoon and a Grasping Root at the same time. Here comes Hosan, comes around the side. Is he going to be able to take it down? Makla goes down. Sorry, that's going to be Kuban dropped. Livic's going to get closed in on Makla. Simply has to back away from this one, and that was a 4-for-1 engage for the Dragonborns. The Baron got picked up. How many times have we seen it? The Baron can cost you the game.
You do not need to force it. Meteor Makers thought they could take that down quicker. They completely forgot about the Whirling Death from Draven, the ultimate coming through, revealing them, and Dragonborns reacted so quickly. The thing is, this is going to make Dragonborns feel confident. This is going to make them think, yeah, we got this, we're doing okay. They're still 10,000 gold behind. Even though the kills are 10 to 13, I really hope that the Dragonborns members are aware of just how far behind they actually are when you look at the rest of the equations, when you look at how many dragons have been picked up, how many barons, how many towers. and that's definitely something that's going to play on their minds.
Absolutely will be playing on their mind, but the confidence boost that may have just given them, that's the first win, the first big win in a fight they've had for 3 games. Dragonborns, they are all about confidence. There's no doubt about it. The aggression showed there in Dragonborns, and it worked wonders. The fact that if they won that fight, yes, the Baron did a big chunk of that damage. It may well be able to win yet another one. We are seeing the Dragon started off now. The ball of defensiveness coming on towards Lebic there. I'm sure there's a real name for it. I don't know where ball of defensiveness came from, but that's what it does.
Command Protect is what you were looking for. Stand United is available for Makla, so if they do decide to jump into a fight, that will be thrown out. 5 members of the Dragonborns on this bottom half of the map, whereas Varus, being played by Makla, is still up there in the mid lane. Need to be very, very careful. It'll take some time for him to react, and you can see the Yamato cannon is rolling around to confront him.
Well, when we're talking about the confidence the Dragonborns have picked up here, they want to fight for this dragon now. They feel straight away that we might be able to win this fight, you know?
Yeah, they definitely do, and it's one of those things they need to be careful of, because the confidence, I just hope it's not misplaced, because it's still a very big difference in terms of items. Just look at the item differences down there in the bottom of the screen. So Dragon has spawned, and now the fact that MYM have stacked up, you can just see that the rest of the Dragonborns are backed away. Realize that they can't really contest. Willing Death comes out a little bit too late, and I don't think the smite was even in the area. Nope, because Makata was in the mid lane.
Yeah, he's quite happy to take it and keep the push on towards that mid lane. Of course, the mid lane turret was down. None of the inhibitor turrets have been touched yet. Just one inner turret was taken down in that bottom, but in the mid lane, sorry. But Meteor Maker's pushing in towards its bottom turret. They may well be able to get onto it before Dragonborns can react.
Yeah, there's 4 members, and they're going to get this down. Dragonborns simply dropping the ball, as it were, not reacting quickly enough, and now Makata is coming to join the party. Stand United is up, and it will be a straight up 5-on-5, and MYM will decide whether or not they want to try and siege down the turret, or just try and force the Dragonborns, force them to move, force them to leave their base, and then jump on them and sink those fangs into the backsides of the Dragonborns.
You know, we've talked about the pressure that Dragonborns may well be under, but let's talk about the nervousness that Meteor Makers will be facing right now. They are looking at getting revenge. They are looking at their careers. This is something they've been chasing. All of the months that LCS has been happening, they've been watching on the sidelines. They were there at Warsaw. They were against the Dragonborns, and they went down to them. They will be so nervous right now. This is their moment they've been really waiting for, the moment they've been training for the last 4 months.
Yeah, that loss in Warsaw would have haunted their nightmares. That's a very, very big, inspirational factor when you think about it. The fact that they've been together for such a long time. I think they've had 1 roster change in what, 2.5 years or so? So this is a team that has truly stuck together through thick and thin. The first tower of the game might be falling for Dragonborns, but MYM will say, no, we do not want you to take it. They've grouped up, and look at that instantly. Dragonborns, they run away. They realize they are still miles behind. They don't want to take a straight-up team fight.
5-man defense. They are still pushing. His brain's going to be greater than brawn here for Dragonborns. Will they try and brute force it, or will the heads prevail? You see the ball, attack ball coming out from Sharu, spotting out that bush. Yamato cannon, he's heading up towards that blue buff. Thought about it. Makata is just off the side. We've seen some flash taunts in the past. Will they go for it again? Cocoon doesn't land onto a Shushay. I feel that would have been the target, but look at Makata. He's going to find them all here. Is he going to go for the aggression? The defensive ball gets put on towards him. He doesn't choose to go aggressive, though.
No, not this time around. We'll see whether or not that ball stays in him. The ball returns back to Charu, and they're going to continue running up. There is a massive creep wave up in the top lane, and it's just like table tennis at the moment, bouncing that ball back and forth between the MYM members to maintain that gold lead. And now you can feel the tension. Now you can feel how much is at stake, how much is on the line. And I imagine every single one of these players feels it too.
Still a 10,000 gold lead. Meteor Makers have built up. Can't even say their name anymore. I've been rambling on that long. It's 32 minutes into this game, 1 minute 30 before that Baron will be spawning, and the teams continue to try and pick up any little advantage they can. Look at the AD carries, just 4 CS between them. They're at the 200 mark right now. There is Oris Charu. He's got the advantage, of course, built up over Shushay. Shushay's been having a bit of a torrid game on Karthus, but that top laner, it's still 4 CS between those. 3-3-3 and 3-2-2, very even across the board, but it is the gold advantage that they've picked up from the towers, from the Barons, from the Dragons, which has given Meteor Makers their advantages.
Yeah, they're just in control of this game, and you can see it. The moment Dragonborns get anywhere near a potential fight, they just run away. And another misstep from Dragonborns. They're not at the same tempo and the same rhythm as MYM. And look at that ward coverage. Meteor Makers have got complete vision control. That is because Baron will be up in 40 or so seconds. Now, this may be the engage that we've been looking for. Meteor Makers have gone in for some funny angles before, and this is pretty straight up, actually. This is 5v5 in a tight choke. Stranglethorns has got Shushay.
Stranglethorns gets on Shushay. Oh, it's going to be popping. 3 members up in the air. Chain of Corruption comes back in there. Sharo gets onto Shushay. There's going to be a crescendo, though. He does slot them down there. It's actually going to get interrupted. Makato does get stopped there. Yamato Cannon goes diving deep, but he's not got the damage. He gets shut down. It's going to be Makler back on towards Hosan. Hosan gets shut down by Makler as well. Movehead now the focus of target. The defensive ball comes across. Shadow now catch on towards Movehead. The fangs sink in. That's Kumon that picks up another. It's a 4-for-0. And Meteor Makers, they can push straight through and take the inhibitor turret.
Ladies and gentlemen, this might be the first inhibitor of the game. Baron is up as well. They might try to take that one. 20 seconds on the clock, it would be risky. At the moment, though, what a great team fight. They landed every single ability that they needed to. Even with Makla being dove on by all of the members of Dragonborns, he managed to survive. He managed to get away and continue dealing damage throughout.
And we talked about potential overconfidence the Dragonborns may have gained from that Baron fight, and that was it there. It was the Dragonborns that initiated. It was the Dragonborns that thought they could interrupt the blue fight, but Meteor Makers were ready and waiting to pounce. Now, however, they're going in for the Baron, and Maluno is coming in hot and fast.
We'll see whether or not he can get in there and get the steal. There's no depth charge available. Smite is there, and at the end of the day, he's going to decide to back away. He's got no support from the rest of his teammates. They're going to react way too slowly, and another Baron goes the way of Meteor Makers. 15,000 gold lead. They have an inhibitor down in the top lane and a 6 turret advantage. This is Meteor Makers' game to lose right now. They are going to look like they're going to bounce back and go 3-0 after going 0-2 down.
The pressure cooker that is building on the Dragonborns right now. Their careers, the joy and fun they've had for the last 3 months of their lives could pass away here for the spring LCS season. They did finish at the bottom of the table. Did they take it seriously enough? We'll never know. They managed to pick up 6 very good wins in that. They managed to take down Evil Geniuses in the process, so they have it in them, but I don't think we've seen them coming back from any deficit anywhere near what they're at right now against Meteor Makers.
And especially with the composition that Meteor Makers has, they can simply control any team fight that they choose. Even if Dragonborns were to find an opportune moment, find someone, find a straggler, there are ways to protect them. There is a teleport Charu, there is Stand United. There is definitely something Meteor Makers can do. They're going to pick up yet another dragon. This is the umpteenth dragon in a row that they've been able to secure, and that gold is just becoming completely out of hand.
Well, we've been calling it team kills for the Dragonborns in the past, but it seems that the Dragonborns are being slayed at every advantage by Meteor Makers. 17-10 right now, the kills, 27 kills across 35 minutes. The crowd control, the area effect, the control in the team fights from Meteor Makers has been devastating for Dragonborns.
We'll see whether or not this will be the final push, with Super Minions getting closer and closer to the base. We've seen the patience of Meteor Makers in the previous game, waiting for the Minions to get into the base before pushing down the turret. We'll see if this works out. Just pointed out, it's a double runic bulwark in on the side of Meteor Makers. Not only that, the Ruby Sightstone and a Giant's Belt in Libic's hands, in comparison to just a Ruby Sightstone. Mouvert is miles behind in items.
And boots of mobility, ironically, on Sona as well. We see Hosan clearing out that middle wave, keeping them at bay. There's a top wave pushing in, of course. That is the Super Minions, and that is why Meteor Makers choosing to go towards this bottom lane. They have the pressure coming, building in towards that top lane. They don't need to do anything about it. There's no reason to split push. They can just keep all the pressure on, push in towards his bottom inhibitor turret, and really just bully Dragonborns into making a mistake.
So Baron buff has around about a minute and a half left on it. We'll see how long they want to tank up this turret. Makata is going straight in. This didn't work out well for him yesterday. When he was playing Maokai, he got chopped down like a tree. And we'll see if he can get away. He manages to survive this particular engagement. The Minions have made it back up, and they're going to carry on sieging.
Look at the size of the shield, though, that defensive ball is giving to Meet Your Makers. They can take 2 or 3 tower hits. The shockwave, it pulls in Shushay. He flashes in, Defile goes down. They're going to pull Makata in, but the Stranglethorns bounces everyone up. Chain of Corruption is absolutely magnificent from Makla, and it's going to be Moveair getting poked down. They're going to dive on towards Maluna. Is this going to be the final kill? Will Meet Your Makers get through to the LCS Summer season? We're going to see them getting through on towards the inhibitor turret.
20 kills to 10. Meet Your Makers have not given up. Super Minions have made it onto the Nexus turrets. They have done it, ladies and gentlemen. They've taken down Shusha Yamato. They've dove onto Hosan. He might be the second to last kill because here comes Maluno. Nexus turret 1 is down. Nexus turret 2 is going down. They've done it.
Meet Your Makers have made it through 3-2 from 2-0 down. They are your 8th Summer LCS team. What a fantastic performance. You've got to feel for the Dragonborns. They had it in their grasp, 2-0 up, but Meet Your Makers absolutely pulled it back. Fantastic performance by them. The confidence boost that they have gained from those 3 matches must be magnificent. And would you believe it, our 3rd replaced team in the LCS, Meet Your Makers, they join Alternate, they join Sinners Never Sleep, and of course the Copenhagen Wolves, the only team to defend their place in the LCS.
I cannot believe the comeback out of the teams that were challenging. They go down 0-2 and then decide, hey, it's about time we play our game. It's about time we turn it on. And Meet Your Makers, 3-2. Look at the smiles on their faces. That is one ecstatic team.
Beautiful, beautiful play. The control. Sharu gets hoisted up by Makato. Well, almost. Almost gets dropped as well. Maybe they should leave that to Libic. He's a bit bigger than Makato. But of course, fantastic performance. We talked about how Sharu really needed to lift his whole team on his shoulders. But honestly, it was a fantastic team performance. Not only Charu performed there, we saw Kubon. He turned it around in the top lane against Yamato Cannon. Libic on Zyra was absolutely immense. And Makla was on point every single time that grasping route finished. Jason.
And just as he said, David, we have our final team into the summer splees in here with Meet Your Makers taking the 8th slot. And wow, what a fantastic game by them. What a fantastic series. And we have to agree, I think everyone out there watching has to agree, they earned it there. Picking up those 3 wins straight when they were almost out of it and doing it with style. I mean, just wow.
Yes.
Wow, indeed. No kidding. It's been a long wow for us.
It's about 15 hours
What an absolute brilliant match so to finish with. What a fantastic best of 5 series that was. And you have to take your hats off to Meet Your Makers. They've come back just like we saw Alternate last night. 2-0 down, everything against them. They didn't even look like they were close to taking those first 2 games. And they just sat down. They thought it out. They came up with a team composition that worked and they stuck to it.
As a team, they used that pause time perfectly. You just seen how their experience and the time that they spent together as a team came through. They sat down, they talked about it, they talked about what went wrong. They even played the same champions. And they just said, it's not the champions, it's not the picks, it's how we are playing it. They changed a little bit, and what a great turnaround.
And you could just see the momentum of the team. Kubon won his lane by himself for the first time in the entire of this series, and he did it so well. You saw him, roam around to the mid lane, created some kills, and you have to give a lot of credit to Hosan. Okay, the level 1 action, because I want to go back to that, where he actually took his wolves. He actually took the 2 minions out the blue buff, and he was 1 minute away from hitting level 2. So he went up there, got level 2, and then he got that crit onto Libic. You saw that perfect flash out of him and the perfect flash in for Makati to land that taunt, and that just snowballed that lane. Makati punished that lane over and over again. He ganked it twice in a row, gave him such a huge advantage. And Charu, with his ultimates, just picking out Shushay every single time with that, taking him down from at least 100 to about 25%, followed up with a taunt. Just the teamwork was spot on that game.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant performance. I'm almost lost for words, honestly. My voice is definitely on its way right now, but I'm amazed at how Dragonborns, and I feared for them, honestly, from that very first game that they lost. I feared they may well turn in on themselves, and that's what they seem to do. The communication seemed to just shut down. Yamato Cannon was winning out that top lane so strongly. Every time he came to join the fights, he was decimating Meet Your Makers, but they figured out how to control him, how to shut him down, and really that was what the big key point was for me.
Yeah, I think they definitely did, and in the last game it really showed itself, because Makati was always in the right position. He knew when Hosan would be the aggressor, he knew when Yamato Cannon would be the aggressor, and he countered it every time. And we're going to get back to that a little bit later, but we do have a replay to show you, because there was one big fight that happened. It was right before we had the inhibitor turret taking the inhibitor, and then a Baron for Meet Your Makers that really just I mean, I would say snowball the game with already up 10,000 gold at this point, but it pretty much gave him the confidence to finish off the game. So we're 32 and 47 seconds in, at 10-13 in favor of Meet Your Makers, but it's 50.9 thousand gold to 40.1 thousand gold. It's around the blue buff. Let's get the replay on the screen and show you what happens here. Because when you guys were casting this, I heard, I think it was Quickshot saying, he built it up like this. He's like, ooh, because you see that Meet Your Makers is just sitting in this bush right here over at this blue buff, and you're going to see that ultimate out of Charo just set up this fight completely. Shushay just getting picked off every single time, unfortunately for him, and he just gets destroyed. You even seen an amazing actual, I'm going to point that out, by Hosan. You see his E come out, which stops the stun coming out of Makate to get it into the entire team and lock them down. But the Zyra ultimate, which you pointed out so many times out of Libic, just was so spot on, knocking up those 3 members, followed up by the Orianna ultimate, and they just timed all their damage together perfectly. Shushay died before he could do anything. The Chain of Corruption bounced around, and we're watching this, and I was thinking to myself, like, it's over. But then we saw Yamato-Ken. I mean, he built pretty much no offensive items, and yet he was still almost able to kill Mackler here. But that Command Protector defensive ball, as David was calling it, saved his life right there. They turned it, they picked up the kills, they got the inhibitor turret, and Meet Your Makers just took that game.
That Polish defense working very well, of course, just as it does in football. So fantastic performance by them, really. And let's talk about the MVP, because honestly, there's a number of candidates for it, Jason, but what are you going towards?
Well, okay, well, to build up to it then. So we had Hosan, and pretty much every game, he won his lane, except that last one, unfortunately, where we saw Makata interact so well. So you have to give him a really big shout out for that. Unfortunately, he wasn't the MVP. You look over at Meet Your Maker's side, Charo. I mean, he played a lot of great plays with that teleport, really created some opportunities, but he wasn't the MVP. You saw Livic land pretty much every single perfect, I'm sorry to do it like this, every single perfect ultimate, creating those opportunities for his team to get that fight, but he's not the MVP. So we're going to go ahead, I'm just going to stop right there and give it over to Makate, because his jungle was just so fantastic in every single game. He shut Quickshot up so well with that Shen 2 games in a row.
I admit it, and I owe him an apology for that. I think that his early game was questionable for game 1. Game 2, he pulled it back. Those flash taunts, and the flash taunts in every single one of those games. That very top lane gank in that final matchup, the reaction timing that came out of Makate for that instant taunt to save Livic and prevent first blood, it was mind-blowing. Like, after the day that they've had, after the series they've had, to still be that on point and that, quick on the reaction, well deserved. What a great game.
And the thing was, it wasn't just one time. It was like 5 or 6 times. Like, he was consistently quick with every single taunt, and it was always perfect, and you have to give an MVP for that.
Yeah, really absolutely fantastic performance. So let's take you through what exactly happened today, because it's been a pretty long one for everyone involved, and I actually do want to thank all the production staff that have been here. It's been around about 16 hours, I believe, that we've been going, and it's been a pretty emotional one for everyone involved. Let's check out, of course, the first games of the day. Well, we saw the best of 5s, and it was a very dominant performance. It was Sinners Never Sleep that went through 3-0. You saw it against the Against All Authority very, very early on. Alternate, of course, that was yesterday. We saw it. They went 3-2, 2-0 down against the Giants. Then we just saw Samurai and Jeans. They went up against the Copenhagen Wolves. Honestly, 2 fantastic teams butting heads there. And Copenhagen Wolves, the only LCS team in this playoff promotion series to actually retain their position. And just the end there, Meet Your Makers. They took down the Dragonborns after being 2-0 down. Fantastic, securing their spot there. So your LCS teams, I think I can recap them all for you, was Fnatic, Dragonborns are not going to be there, unfortunately.
Okay, let's
I'm going to go through the ones that are no longer there. Of course, it is going to be the Dragonborns, Against All Authorities, fallen by the wayside. And, of course, in the day 1, Giants, unfortunately, they fell to the wayside, which does mean Fnatic, Gambit, Evil Geniuses, SK Gaming, Sinners Never Sleep now, Alternate will be in there now, Meet Your Makers, of course, will be in there, and the Copenhagen Wolves. Please remember, if you want to see all of the stats from the LCS so far, as well as the latest VODs recaps, then go over to lolesports.com. It has been a very long day for everyone involved, ladies and gentlemen, and really, that is it from all of us. Thank you very much for watching. We're going to go across the shocks for some final thoughts from the day.
Thank you very much, Demon. I'm here with Meet Your Makers, and I'm going to talk to Mokate. Now, Mokate, I talked to you in Lille when you guys had a great performance. You said, we're going to keep trading. You did it. What was the magic stuff that happened here that made you make that comeback and get that LCS spot?
Well, we trolled the first 2 games. No, just kidding. They just outplayed us badly. The first 2 games were just stomps, and We're a bit crushed. I won't lie about that, but yeah, at the break, I told guys that we win 3-2, and it just happened. So I just don't know. I guess that Arena was right about believing things. So yeah, we just believed.
You just believed. Listen to RNA. Very nice. Can you tell me what it was exactly, what bans or what strategy it was that made you win the next couple of games?
Well, first of all, we decided to not ban Draven at all. Hosan was a little bit famous for his Draven. Every LCS team banned it, but we did some research and we couldn't find anything special about that champion, so we decided to just let it go and let him play this. Especially that I know that he was training other champions because he was sure that we're gonna ban it. So yeah, so that was the first thing, and I don't know. This other things were like just play here like we play online, because sometimes we had problem with that. So we had to make sure that we keep the performance from online matches to offline. And yeah, first 2 games it didn't work out, but from then on it went pretty good.
Absolutely, very good. So what will we see from Meet Your Makers? Because this means so much to you guys, doesn't it?
Yeah, finally we did it. We tried so many times. I mean, one time, but we're in the scene for so long. We always do our best. We always train pretty hard. We have the same lineup since, I believe, 500 days or so. We never made roster changes. Never mind if someone was failing at some point. We just kept the same lineup and trained really hard. Now we get profit of that. And yeah, now it's time to get used to offline events even more. We'll play weekly, and I think it will benefit us very, very much.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. And we're hoping to see a lot from you in the summer season. That is it from us here for the European Promotion Tournament. But of course, later this week, the North American Summer Promotion Series kicks off from Los Angeles. More big names teams in action, including Team Marn, Complexity, CLG, and Dignitas, trying to hold off more capable challenger teams. It's going to be airing this Friday at 8 p.m. Central European Summertime. That is 11 a.m. Pacific. And after millions of votes, your hand-picked all-star players will head off to Shanghai to battle it out against some of the world's finest players. 3 big days of plays start Friday, May 24th, so don't forget to tune in and support your region. And while the spring split is coming to a closer, we have a whole summer to look forward to our LCS, and our teams will be back to battle it out beginning this June. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. From all of us here in the studio, it's been a great spring season, and we'll see you in the summer season.